And yeah, I wanted to start with apologies for last week. Many of you tried to come to the class last week. I think it would have been a really big class by the look of the yeah, the numbers on the blog site. So I'm really sorry it didn't happen. Um, yeah, with the help of Lucy and Dorothy, we think we've worked out that it's after a year or so, Zoom just cuts off a regular class, and that's what happened. They don't tell you, so that's what happened. We think last week, and it wasn't possible to. It was possible to generate a new link, but not for you all to be able to get it. So we had a class of about 5 or 6 people who were writing to me saying, "Can't get in, can't get in," and I was able to write back, posting this new link, which Madhva Priya, bless him, was posting to me from Shrewsbury train station where he was trying to catch a train to London. So it was all very fraught. But yeah, there was something interesting that came out of it for me, and it links to what I was intending to talk about that morning, but I'm going to talk about this morning now. So yeah, I've been in Spain for the last 10 weeks. I got back 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had to come back slightly early because of a family bereavement. But one of the things that I was dipping into, one of the books I was dipping into was a book by Thich Nhat Hanh called Fear. He says ultimately, which I think this is quite a common Buddhist understanding, that fear is really about fear of death. That's the main fear. And we might touch into that on the online retreat over Christmas and New Year, that aspect of what he was writing about. But there was another quote that struck me quite yeah, vividly. He says, as practitioners, we must be capable of reconciling, embracing, and relieving our own suffering. So our practice needs to be sort of capable of dealing with our own dukkha, at least to some extent, reconciling, embracing, and relieving our own suffering. I find this quite challenging because it's this doesn't mean, which is easy to think it does. It doesn't mean that um, we don't suffer, or that we have to sort of really um, be on top of our dukkha or our reactivity, which is a form of suffering right from the beginning. Um, but I think what he's saying is that through our practice, we need to have tools that we can use effectively to learn to calm the mind, to learn to take care of our minds, um, to have a wise sort of response and a wise relationship to the suffering, which is inevitable in life. We are going to suffer. That's a completely normal and natural part of life. So how we relate to it is important, and it's the stuff of our practice to a really large extent, I think. So we don't use this quote to judge ourselves or to get into doubt about what it says about me or my own practice. Don't want to take it sort of personally in that way, but to recognize in times of stress what helps us with our pain, our reactivity, anxiety, whatever form of dukkha it is. And yeah, two of the most sort of prominent tools that we talk about in this class are mindfulness or awareness and right view. They're the sort of twin tools that, yeah, when they work together, form a really, really strong, I would say protection from, if you like, second arrow suffering, protection from yeah, the kinds of suffering that arise through our reactivity. So in just the last few minutes of talking, I just want to say a little bit about that, just refreshing ourselves. So mindfulness helps us drop into our senses, get space from the conceptualizing mind, which I think when dukkha is present, the mind thinks about it a lot, has a lot to say, a lot to sort of tell ourselves about what's happening, whether it should be happening, why is it happening, how to make it go away. There's all that stuff gets activated in the mind. So being with our senses, being with sense experience helps us avoid sort of inflating suffering, just making more of it than there needs to be. I think one aspect of awareness that I find particularly helpful when there's some sort of suffering in the mind is that quality of being of acceptance, aware of our desires and discontents in the mind, and having a kind of freedom from that push-pull response. So there's an allowing or an acceptance of whatever is in the mind without immediately trying to suppress it or make it go away. And I think that's really key to avoiding the mind that has a lot of conflict in it, the mind that starts fighting with itself. So just touching on elements here, but touching on the right view or wisdom element. And again, this touches back in with the quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. What would help the heart mind right now? What would help with stabilizing calm or helping the sort of heat of reactivity? Yes, like calm down a little bit. I had well, last week actually was a very good example for me of this. Yeah, because it was when we came to sit, the four or five of us that were there. In a way, I found, as I mostly do, find myself leading a meditation based on what was happening for in my own sort of being, my own body and mind. There's not usually quite such a sort of discrepancy, I think, between what people are experiencing and my own experience, which was of quite a lot of agitation, tearing around trying to connect with you on Zoom. So there was quite a lot of agitation in the mind. So the question, what would help? It really was just that sort of kindly awareness, kindly way of being with the mind. This is okay. What's happening now is it's normal, it's natural for the mind in these circumstances. So not noticing the thoughts, really noticing thoughts as thoughts, not worrying about the content of the thoughts, not even having to decide if they're true or not, but just recognizing them as thoughts in the moment. And just that little aspect of the wisdom practice was very helpful, really helpful in that moment to stop the mind identifying so strongly with the thoughts, and the agitation calmed down. So I had a very nice experience last week, actually in meditation in the end, I think, and a real confirmation of the practice of mindfulness and right view, working in the moment with an agitated state and seeing that just calm. Okay, so that's all I'll say for now. We'll just stop the recording.